So as we continue this Towson watch party, we've got Koby Smith joining us now. Koby, we just watched that Hopkins game for you back in 2019. You scored a couple of goals. That was a memorable one for you.
Yeah, no, definitely a good time. Love playing Hopkins. So that rivalry is definitely a different breed. So it was definitely a ton of fun playing in it.
Well, we're about to show the win for Towson from back in 2017, also against Hopkins, that kicked off that season. Obviously, that was a memorable season for the Tigers as well. But what is it about that Hopkins-Towson rivalry? Because, I mean, obviously for Coach Nads, it's special because that's his alma mater. But for Towson and Hopkins, you guys are so close. It's just like there are always good games between the two, especially recently.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's something that's been, gosh, such a big thing from before way even when I came to Towson. But with that being said, like it's obviously the two schools are super close together. Probably 2 miles apart. So, I mean, off the field, we're around each other a ton, obviously in the same area and that kind of stuff. But you kind of want bragging rights in Baltimore, right? So at the end of the day, there's obviously so many good schools in Baltimore. We got Loyola, Towson, Hopkins, UMBC, all those guys. But with all that talent, there's got to be one at the top. So obviously being able to play in that little rivalry means a ton to us. So.
Well, and that was the thing for you guys in 2019 that I feel like made that year even more special, is that you beat Hop and then you beat Loyola, and you guys were like not only one of the best teams in the CAA, a top 20 team in the country, but you guys were the Kings of Baltimore.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, what was that like for you guys as a team?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something super special. But at the end of the day, rankings don't really mean anything until the end of May. I mean, that's the one thing that we obviously saw after playing Cornell and that kind of stuff. But it felt really good, obviously, to get some light on Towson. Obviously, we're not one of those top-tier D1 schools like the Dukes or the UNCs. But to be able to have that kind of light around our name meant something a lot. It gave us a ton to work towards. So, yeah, I mean, that was our goal at the end of the day, kind of just to work it all the way through May.
You've teamed up with some Hopkins guys now in your pro career playing with Atlas. What's that like now? And you're wearing the wrong color now, too.
Oh, yeah, the light blue. I can't complain. All those guys are great dudes. Obviously, playing for PLL and Atlas was a great experience for me this summer, and obviously there's nothing that I could ever do to be able to thank them enough for giving me that opportunity. But, yeah, like the Hopkins guys are all great guys. There's no bad blood, at least not for me at the end of the day. But, yeah, no, I love playing with every single one of them, and honestly honored to be able to stand on the field with them.
So, speaking of rivalries, the first game we showed as part of this watch party was you guys taking down then #1 Loyola, also from that 2019 year. Where does that game rank? Because I know for me, it's one of my favorite games I've ever broadcast, between the atmosphere, the build-up, the Wednesday night. Where does that one rank for you?
I mean, it's definitely top 2, and I don't even know if it's 2. It was definitely a ton of fun to go play. And Wednesday night, obviously, you get that little hump week action, or middle of the week action. So, I mean, that game to me personally was probably #1 in terms of being able to play. The energy was crazy. The atmosphere was awesome. Our fans definitely showed out. And obviously, we got to play a super talented team in Loyola. So we want the best competition at the end of the day. So that was probably #1 for me.
Yeah, I mean, you said top 2. What's the other one that's in the mix for you?
I guess the other one for me would be the Maryland game from that 2019 year, the OT loser. It was pretty rough, but definitely a ton of fun to be able to play in. So that would probably be #2 for me.
Yeah, I mean, a heartbreaker, but an incredible game between the two programs there. You mentioned playing against the talent on that Loyola team, and you went 1-on-1 with Pat Spencer, and it almost felt like that was like a coming out party for you. I'm sure you had the confidence, but what did it feel like to do it then on that stage and then get the attention really early on in your career that you were getting?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was definitely, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty nervous before the game. I mean, Pat Spencer's a pretty tough dude to guard. Obviously, like the LeBron James is the Lacrosse, but obviously playing basketball for the Warriors now, so pumped for him. But yeah, no, like I had a ton of fun. At the end of the day, I got to be able to show who I was as a player, and put me up against the top tier talent. That's what I asked for at the end of the day. So to me, honestly, that was kind of like a opening up party for myself, kind of to see what the ceiling was for me. And at that point in time, it was Pat Spencer. So, I mean, I had a ton of fun playing against him, and Towson came out with the dub at the end of the day, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you guys held him pretty quiet for the beginning part of that game, and I think a lot of that played into. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest of games at times, but like you junked it up enough that like you're in it, and then you see Tyler Canto make the save that he made. Had you seen anything like that?
No, God, no. And I actually didn't see a save like that up until Jack and Cannon this past summer. But yeah, no, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I was super stoked to be able to be on the field at that point in time. And that save was something that I'll carry with me the rest of my life, and I know for positive that Canto will as well. So.
Yeah, that one may be one of the best saves we've seen in maybe in the history of college lacrosse, at least in the regular season that I've seen in the last 5-10 years. Koby, you joined this Towson team coming off that 2017 Final Four. I wonder, like, what was the environment for you joining a team that obviously they had lost a bunch of veterans, but they had guys coming back. The expectations are there coming off this, like all-time type season. What was that like for you, and how did that kind of set the tone for your college career?
Yeah, I mean, that all starts actually with the coaches. For me, that was Coach Nads, Coach Grossi, Coach Musi, Coach Kachi in there too, Coach Gallardi. All those guys were extremely down to the point, right? So we wanted to make sure that we were getting everything done, getting a step better day in and day out. But also like the senior leadership and being around the guys. That's one thing that Towson takes like really close to heart, is playing with that chip on your shoulder, but being able to back that guy up that's sitting next to you, right? Because at the end of the day, lacrosse stands for everybody, but as long as you know that you're building relationships with players and teammates and coaches, that can really go a long way. So that was something I was super excited to be able to be a part of.
Well, Koby, you had a special career at Towson. You were part of a lot of great games. And speaking of that 2017 game, we're going to say goodbye to Koby. We're going to send the people to that 2017 game against Hopkins, help kick off what was a magical season for your Tigers. Koby, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.